Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. The musical Wicked, which has become a worldwide phenomenon, is celebrating its 10th year anniversary here on Broadway at the Gershwin Theater. And I'm at the after party where I caught up with the cast, creators, and past alumni. Tell me what tonight meant to you.
Well, I basically felt the inside of my head explode into little green fragments. They didn't cut anybody, they just made everybody laugh and clap. When I see this show after 10 years and I think, this is all sort of was rolling in imaginary reels in the back of my head, and here's 1,700 people screaming like an ocean of sound at the songs, at the story, at the characters themselves. I don't really feel like I'm alive. I feel like I'm some other creature than a human being. This kind of thing doesn't get to happen to a person's imagination.
It's a moment of deep gratitude. It really is. I mean, when I think about Stephen Schwartz coming into my life, changing my life completely, just like that song, just like the song. And when I think about all the people that we're so grateful to, who make it all happen all over the world, I'm just humbled and I'm grateful, and I feel very, very blessed.
What did tonight mean to you, Joel? Tell me.
Well, I guess this is my second 10-year show. Chicago, what was that, 15 now? Is it?
It's up there. I think it's 15 or 16, you're right.
Yeah, and we had a big night on the 10th anniversary that I'll never forget. And this show is a great show. It deserves everything it's gotten.
When you look at 10 years and worldwide, this is seen in different languages all around the world. Why do you think people connect to this the way they do?
First of all, it was a classic and was accepted in that way all around the world originally. And then there was a movie that was a classic, and that was all around the world. And then they took this and switched it around and gave it a push and made it into something new, but that was about friendship.
Where's your camera go?
And the kids, the young kids especially, just love that.
What is the biggest thrill for you with being a part of Wicked and the Wicked family?
I think seeing it go from, the first table read and the first day of rehearsal all the way to now and see how far it came. I mean, in San Francisco, we knew right away it would be, once we got into front of an audience, we knew that it would be a hit. And we could tell, there was a line around the Current Theater in San Francisco, but I think seeing it evolve and seeing where it's come from then to now, the story's the same, the script's the same, but just seeing the energy and the performances and, just seeing it be, just seeing how it evolved as companies grow throughout the world with Wicked. I think that's been the coolest thing.
What did tonight mean to you?
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm doing a show that happens to be very short, and we started at 7, so we did our show, and I busted up here as fast as I could, and I got here in time for As Long As You're Mine. Beautiful. And it's just beautiful. I've been in there since, I forgot how huge the Gershwin is. Because the vineyard where I'm doing the show, like the Gershwin would eat it like a carrot stick. It's just, it's so beautiful. It's amazing.
Give me your history with Wicked.
I did the tour. I played Stephanie J. Block in the tour in 2006. And then I did Broadway in 2007, both times with Kendra Cassabaum as my Glinda and Sebastian Arcellus as my Fiyero. And other wonderful people too, but those were like my steadies.
Remember your first performance on stage as Elphaba? What do you remember?
What I remember is, most of all, I remember being so nervous that Wizard and I felt like Dr. Dillamond, because my voice, I couldn't control it, and my vibrato was happening so fast, and I just felt nervous. But then after that number was done, I was fine.
I've been in this business for an extremely long time, and very rarely do you come across an opportunity to be in a show like Wicked that literally just changes the theatrical experience, changes Broadway, it breaks all kinds of records, and to be a part of that and to be a part of this family has been one of the most amazing things. It was, I spent 4 years with this show, and it was probably some of the best years of my life. And my son was born while I was doing this show. This show means a lot to me.
I think it was about 9 years ago. I was the first replacement for Glinda. I was thrilled to be the first replacement because I think I had said jokingly somewhat to the producers, I was like, I want to be the first replacement. Well, I never really imagined it happening, but it happened. And it was one glorious year, but it touched my life in so many ways that I still to this day I get recognized for it. I get compliments and comments from. I still get fan mail of all things. Like if I'm doing another show, I'll get fan mail regarding Wicked. So it's pretty intense.
You know, it's a full circle moment. I brought my parents who were at opening night 10 years ago, before I was married to Norbert, before we had a child. Before I lived in New Jersey, before I had stepchildren. So it's, to come back and see all of these people who helped create the life that I have now. I mean, I know that sounds a little heavy and dramatic, but it's true. I mean, these people, I met my husband and have this life now. So it's been a really meaningful experience and totally fun.
I got to tell you, this is fantastic. 10 years, I was the Wizard for 5 years, and I'm like, 5 years, I think, I mean, that's like, I feel like part of this show. I feel like part of this family, and it's nice to see all the family here. And it was, what a night this was. Fantastic.
Because so many people got married during the show, people had children during the show.
I know, and I think all of them had, didn't they all have girls or did they all have boys? I mean, there must be something in that green bottle. What's in that green bottle that the witch has that we give these girls? But yeah, it's cool to see everybody married. You see, everybody's life goes on because you're so closely associated for 10 years that you can actually become part of their lives.
Tell me what you love about this role, what she means to you.
Oh, I just love Elphaba's fire. She has such fire, and she doesn't ever hold back. She's always speaking her mind, and I admire it. It doesn't matter whether people are going to like it or not. She's going to tell you the truth of the situation, and sometimes people don't always understand that or want to hear that, but that's what you're going to get from Elphaba.
I have such a special history with Wicked. It was my first show, my first real big show out of college, and I was working at Bloomingdale's when I got the phone call that I got it, and I was the Glinda understudy on the first national tour, and I picked up the phone, found out, and I looked at all of the other makeup counters and fragrance counters around me, and they all knew I was waiting for the phone call, and the whole entire area of Bloomingdale's erupted in applause. And I showed up to St. Louis, and I literally had like $7 in my bank account. I didn't even have enough money to buy food, and my mom had to order me a pizza from Denver to in St. Louis at the Domino's, and I ate it over a couple days. I just didn't know anybody yet, so I didn't want to tell anybody. I was embarrassed. So anyways, Wicked totally changed my life.
First time you got green?
I do. It was amazing. I mean, it's everything that you could imagine. You're green, you're flying, you're singing these incredible notes, and you're running upstairs, and you're wearing dresses that weigh 20 pounds. It's thrilling. It's, what you hope for when you become a theater actress, that you do a role like this.
I literally documented my first night, and then I look at it now, and I'm like, my God, I was obviously very nervous. Maybe other people can't tell, but I was like, for me, I watched myself. You were nervous that night. It's sort of because the show has such a history, and it's such a good show, and as actors, we all want to live up to how great the show is, and it's tours everywhere and in different countries. So there's a history there, and there's a legacy for Wicked, and I was glad to be a part of it. So.
It's so exciting. It's so extraordinary to think that it's been 10 years. It doesn't feel like 10 years to me at all, but that's because as we get older, time goes faster. But wow, it's been such a thrill for me to be part of this incredible experience of Wicked, this amazing phenomenon, But I wasn't around for the beginning, so I didn't have all of that festivity. So I get to have some of this festivity now, and that's pretty fun.
Do you remember your first performance on stage? What do you remember about that night?
Being just scared out of my mind and just thrilled. The adrenaline that was pumping through me, I feel like that could be bottled and shot into people and it would make them fly. It was just incredible. And the first applause and Elphaba's entrance is just so powerful, and so I found I actually got to live in my own moment of being front center down center stage as a dream in one of my dream roles. So yeah, it was great.
Why do you think this musical has touched so many people?
Well, there isn't another musical that I can think of that's like it now, or has been, or may ever be. I don't know. But it's just such a purely great story about women and girls and their autonomy and finding out who they are and what loyalty means in friendship. And it's a really good message, strong message for girls. And I really think that as long as there are girls between the age of 7 and 17, there'll always be a Wicked.
It's just such a magical show. I think that it never fails to get that kind of audience reaction. And I was so moved and shocked by that when I first joined the company. And then tonight, oh my gosh, the audience was out of control. I was out of control. I was crying. And it was just really moving to be on this side of it and to watch, how it comes across and how people relate to it. It was really emotional.
Gosh, it was just so exciting to be part of this show that in a moment when the audience screams and yells, you feel the impact it's had on hundreds of thousands of people who have just loved it. And you feel so humbled to just get to do it every night. I've been doing this show for 8 years, 8 times a week. I love it, and it just makes me fall in love all over again. Just when you think you can't love it more, you love it more, and that was tonight.
I played the role of Glinda on the tour, and that was a blast. I have many fun stories from, on the road. Things get a little bumped around in a truck, and I've Shanae turned on instead of using my bubble, anything like that. And no particular, it's live theater, so there's always going to be funny things that go on.
It felt like an opening night again. It was like a rebirth of the show. I was tearing up. I don't know if my mascara is still on, but it was awesome.
Do you have a favorite story that happened to you, like during the run on the road or in New York?
I do, actually. When I was on the road, we were in New Orleans, and there was a power outage in the city. The whole city lost power, and it was in the middle of our show. And so we didn't want to leave everyone without finishing the show. So we pushed the piano on stage. Somebody played acoustically. All the stagehands came on with flashlights, and we sang For Good in the Dark for a New Orleans audience, and it was unbelievable. And then I had to go home in the green.
What does tonight mean to you?
Well, this was outrageous. This the feeling of love coming from the audience to us was just an overwhelming experience. I felt very honored when they asked me to come and be part of the 10th anniversary. I've been doing Wicked on the road, and I was on Broadway a couple of years ago, and I just went back on the road, and at the last day, they said, we'd like you to come back and be with Carol Kane and be the 10th anniversary wizard, and I'm honored.
I think I was more overwhelmed than I thought I would be. The audience was giving such incredible energy, and none of us were really expecting that. So it really, within the first 5 minutes of the show, became something that was powerful for all of us too. So it's pretty great.
Just to be a part of the show is thrilling, but to be part of it at 10 years and realize that it's just sort of this amazing piece. When the show opened, I was too young to be in the show. So it's kind of amazing to think that a show has run this long that I can actually age into a part and get to play it and be part of this company. I just find it amazing.
So tell me what tonight means to you.
Oh, it's huge. I've been such a fan of Wicked since it opened. I was in high school. It was the first show I saw on Broadway. So being here and being a part of this, this historical night with the show, it's been fantastic. Yeah, it's just wonderful.
The audience was incredible tonight, right?
God, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, it was wild. We held for like a minute at the end of the opening number. It was crazy.
It's such an amazing feeling being in the Gershwin Theater with so many alumni there and being part of such an epic night. It's with such an amazing cast. It's after the first act ended, you settle your nerves, but it's such an exciting night. You can't really contain it. It's fun.
Now, give me your history with Wicked, because you went in the same time Lindsay went in, right?
I did.
Talk about that.
Yeah. Lindsay and I did a show together last year, and it was such a awesome thing that we got to go into this show together, because this is my first Broadway show, first time being a replacement and coming into a show, such a beast like Wicked, which I've seen many times, and it's so intimidating, it's so different. And having someone by my side and being able to rehearse with her and have somebody that's going through what I'm going through, and to kind of feel that with was really, I was so grateful for that. And we just had such a good time. It was such a relaxing rehearsal period, and the fact that we were already such good friends and felt so comfortable with each other was amazing.
You got to do the show tonight. How do you feel?
amazing. This audience was crazy. I knew it. We had that conversation before, and I was just like, I bet you it's going to be a rock concert. And it kind of was. They applauded for everything. They just loved the show. They just loved the show. They loved specific lines. I didn't have to do much. I just had to say my lines and play the part, and they were just in it, you know?
Could you hear the applause? You're up in your bubble. Was it like crazy before you even came down?
Well, here's the deal. The monkeys come out in the very beginning, and they applauded for the monkeys. So I was like, all right, it's going to go well, you know? And then the curtain opens, and the ensemble is there. They applauded for them, and I was like, okay. And then I'm just like, hold it together, Mozzie, hold it together, because I knew they would like be excited for Glinda to come in. And then at the end of the opening number, like they just would not stop. And at some point I'm just like, we're gonna have to pay like musicians overtime if I don't like cut this off. As much as I'd like love to be like stay in it, you know. So finally I was just like, well, and they like laughed that I had to like cut them off. But it's kind of like a fun moment, you know.
No, because I'm sure that was all during the show. I'm sure during Popular the same thing.
Everything. I mean, it was funny. Like this audience knows the show, you know. So they appreciated the little stuff and the big stuff. They stood up at the end of Defying Gravity, but they were clapping at like even like any little entrance or like such like certain lines. They were like looking forward to certain lines, you know, like when Glinda was like waving to Dorothy, being like, just take that one road the whole time. They were just like, yes, you know, like they just like love any little or big thing, basically.
What was it like tonight?
I did not know to expect what it was. It was crazy. I've never in my life. I mean, it was overwhelming to say the very least.
Allie was saying it was like this Broadway rock show.
Yeah.
From the second the monkeys came out.
From downbeat, from the orchestra starting. It was crazy, and it was so hard to like maintain balance and be like, okay, don't react to the audience, stay in the story, but like, how can you not react when the crowd is like deafening? I mean, I didn't have to sing any of my notes in the ends of the songs because they started applauding before, so I was like, oh, I'm not gonna sing. It was so great.
Because Allie was like, keep it together, keep it together, keep
so
it
hard.
together.
My heart was pounding a million miles. It was crazy.
So this is the 10th year anniversary. I mean, I know you just joined the show, but this is touching people all around the world. 9 companies. What do you think the success of Wicked is all about?
I think it's about a really great show with a really great story that everyone connects with. You know, I think number one, people love The Wizard of Oz, and these characters are a huge part of that. And so to get to see another version of that story, you know, I think that's anyone would die to kind of see how that goes. I would love to know like what happened to Dorothy afterward too. But then also, you know, then I think you get here and you get settled in, and you're like, oh wow, this story is really deep and really important, and these women, they go through so much, and the journey is so extreme, and I think anyone can relate to that, and I don't know, I think it's just really freaking well done too, on top of it.